There we go. Okay. Let me know. Are you hearing now? Yes. Okay. Fantastic. You should be hearing now. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. You got to have people doing your tech support in the back. All right. So do me a favor. If you want to get down with the Monday Mindset Movement crew and want to know when we're live, yes, let me know that you're hearing the sound now. If you want to know when we're live, then text live to 240-557-8679. 240-557-8679. And we'll let you know when we're live. Come get some. Come get some inspiration, motivation, value bombs, and more. Okay, let me know. Tell me if you are hearing me now in the comments. Fantastic. Excellent. Tell me where you're chiming in from so I can shout you out. Where you shouting? Where you coming in from? Cali? Are you coming in from Japan? Are you coming in from South Florida? Where you chiming in from? I want to shout you out. So glad that you're here today. Let's get into our show for today. Let's do this thing. All right. Bam.
Motivated, elevated, and accelerated. It's your time to jump out of your comfort zone and reach higher. It's time to get up and go. Grab your cup of grit and your daily dose of resilience. It's time for the Monday Mindset Movement with your host, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. It's time.
Yeah. Come on. What? Yes, y'all. Hey, my friends. So glad you joined the movement. Tell me where you're tuning in from, Marv Ricky. I see you, Miami. I see Tamika S. Graham from Jamaica. I see Patrice Williams Gordon from St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. TL Speaks. What's going on? Happy Monday to you. Yes, so glad that y'all are here today. Yeah, keep putting them in. I want to shout out your home base. Tell me where you're coming from. If you haven't heard me say this before, the whole idea of the Monday Mindset Movement is getting in that headspace of growth. We want you to start it up and launch it every single day. We don't wind it down on Wednesday. We want you to bring that Monday mindset into every day so that we can tap into the God-given potential in all of us and win. Yeah. All right. So listen, if you're looking for a space to supercharge your business growth using public speaking and storytelling, we're launching the Story to Sales Mastermind soon. It's about learning how you can leverage your voice to amplify what you're already building and doing it with others. If you want to learn more, go to storytosalesmastermind.com to fill out our interest form, and you will get that information shortly. All right. One more thing. In October, people, we're going to be changing our showtime to 7 a.m. Eastern. All right. TL Speaks from Omaha, Nebraska. So glad that you're here. All right. If you still want to join us at that time, type 7 in the chat so that we know that you're with us. Come on. We know that champions arise at dawn. So if you're down for the 7 a.m. show, type 7 in the chat. All right. This starts in October, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever time it is on the Eastern Coast of the United States. All right. Listen, let's jump on in this morning. Let's jump on into the Monday Mindset this morning. Every semester, the same thing happened, right? The same thing would happen every single semester. I would go to the computer lab at the end of the semester because it was finals time. We always had a paper due. We always had something due. And I would always end up in the computer lab along with the other procrastinators trying to get my last paper done. Quite often it was late and I would get it done in the next morning, right? But why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? So maybe you're asking yourself the question. You've got this thing that you do over and over and you delay and you push it off and you procrastinate on it. And then because you don't like it or you realize that it's ridiculous pressure, you ask yourself, why did you do this thing? Why did you do it? Well, I don't know about you, but I felt like I couldn't focus in without the pressure of time. And that's what procrastinators do, right? We say we function well under pressure. What was it that caused me to focus better under pressure? Maybe you ask yourself the same question. Like, put that in the comments if you can think about it. What is it that causes you to focus better under pressure? Hey, D Collects, good to see you. Froze45, so glad that you're here on Instagram. UC Maritza, good to see you. Dandio17, so glad that y'all are here. What is it that caused me and what causes you to focus better, and I'm putting this in air quotes, under pressure? Well, I don't know. Maybe for me, fear of failure, right? The fear of failing. That's a powerful motivator, right? You don't want to fail, but it's also a stressful motivator. The question that I'm maybe asking myself is, why didn't the fear of failure motivate me to act earlier in the process? Why didn't the fear of failure motivate me to act earlier in the process? Here's the truth. And procrastinators unite. I want you to hear this. I came to this thought process or to this revelation years later. The fear of failure didn't motivate me to act earlier in the process because I was addicted to the stress. I was addicted to the stress. Like many things in life, right? If you do something often enough, even when it doesn't feel good, you begin to crave that negative feeling. How many of you have ever been doing something and you say to yourself, my gosh, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this thing? Yeah, that's addictive behavior. And when you have addictive behavior, it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop. I'm seeing somebody in the chat saying it's accepting mediocrity, just getting by. Yeah, it's hard to stop. It's addictive behavior. Procrastination is addictive. It's addictive. Psychology Today, I was reading an article in Psychology Today, and it tells us why some procrastinators or why we succumb to this addictive behavior of procrastination, right? And some procrastinators, like me previously, contend that they perform better under pressure. And they convince themselves of that. You've said it to yourself. I've said it to myself. But while we're able to convince ourselves of that, research shows that is generally not the case. Instead, here's what happens. Procrastinators addictively make a habit of last-minute work to experience the rush of euphoria at seemingly having overcome the odds. Yes, I got the paper in. Yes, I got this done. Yes, I am a champion. I waited till the last minute and I still got it done. This is addictive behavior. So let's dig a little deeper. Why do we procrastinate? Why do we procrastinate? Well, there are a lot of different reasons, and we can go into the different variations of procrastination and what it means and how people do it and why they do it. But let's go through some basics. Some of us procrastinate because we lack structure. We don't have systems in our lives. And so we don't have an order of operations. We don't have an order of how we're going to proceed. And so we continue to push things off. Others of us procrastinate because we believe that the task will be unpleasant. And so we delay the pain. I don't want to experience that, so I'm just going to push it off as far as I can. Why else do we procrastinate? Well, we procrastinate sometimes because we're confused about the complexity of the task. I'm not sure. I don't really understand it, so I push it off, like filing taxes, right? I'm confused about how large or how much it's going to take. Why else do people procrastinate? Well, fatigue. They're constantly tired. Because I'm tired, I'm going to push that decision off. And then the last thing that I'll mention is distraction. Something else is more important. So in this same article in Psychology Today, it says that procrastination is closely linked to rumination. Or if you're not sure what rumination is, that simply means becoming fixated on negative thoughts. That's like spin cycle, right? On a machine, you constantly tell yourself that something is going to be stressful or it won't feel good. So you spend the majority of your mental time circling around the negative feeling instead of moving past it. I want you to think about this. Let's think about this just from a logical standpoint for a moment. I just insulted somebody. Don't get mad at me, please. All right. Let's think about this. If you were to complete an unpleasant task, you'd be done with it. But for some reason, we dance around it, think about it, and in essence, extend the unpleasantness instead of moving past it. This is how we operate. This is what procrastination does. Right? Think about exercise. Okay, the exercise, I'm going to be sore. It's going to hurt. So let me do it tomorrow. I push it off until tomorrow. I know it's going to hurt. I know I'm going to get sore. I know I'm going to have to breathe hard. I know it's not going to be the most comfortable thing in the world. So I push it off until tomorrow. Right? And so what that does, here's what it does. It temporarily raises my mood. Oh yeah, I feel better right now because I've delayed the pain. So I've got some temporary euphoria by predicting that I'll do it later. But then once I begin to push it off, it also makes the cycle of pushing it off easier to repeat. Right? Let me read some of the responses here online. Distraction might be me, right? Danjo17 says feeling complicated, okay, or compliant, okay, and also fear of the unknown. Yes. Yeah. So we've talked about procrastination. We've talked about the why of it. We've talked about how people have it, and we've talked about how it affects our week. So how do you quit procrastination? That's where we want to get to. How do you quit procrastination? Well, one thing that I would like to recommend that you do is think about the results of it. I want you to think about the results of it. The results of procrastination, the results of pushing something off is that you've got higher stress levels for longer. The more that you put your body and your mind under stress about a particular thing for a longer time, you increase the exposure to stress. And the more that you expose yourself to stress internally and externally, there's some physical ramifications for that. Hypertension is one of those. The more that I procrastinate, yeah, I might feel like, oh, I'm not getting the stress of it right now, but I've got some level of stress because I haven't accomplished it. I haven't done it. I haven't overcome it. I haven't put action on it. And that little stress adds up, adds up, adds up. And the stress that you have in doing it is the same as it would have been before. So think about if your stress level is in doing the thing is 10, and then the stress level of putting it off is 2, and you got 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 10, you're still going to be at 20 instead of 10 as you were before. So I want you to think about that. One of the ways of overcoming this is thinking about the results of it. There are health risks in putting off exercise. There are health risks in putting off healthy activity. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, outsource some of your decisions to combat decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a real thing, y'all. We make so many decisions daily that we get tired of making decisions sometimes, right? So outsource some decisions that may be more simple in order to combat decision fatigue. Ask your family members to choose the menu or the dinner location. Hey, I feel like Italian, and let them choose the restaurant. Outsource some of your decisions. You don't need to make every single decision all the time. Some decisions are not consequential. So you want to save your brain energy, your brain power. You want to save your brain capacity for the ones that are important for you. Because the more you deplete your power, the more you deplete your energy, is the easier it is for you to succumb to decisions that are not the healthiest for you. Number three way to overcome procrastination, get accountability. Get accountability. I'm doing something right now called 75 hard. And I did it before, or I started it before. I didn't complete it. But the main thing that I discovered that first time I was doing it by myself. This time, I'm doing it. We're on day 10. And before I started it, I said, hey, I need a couple of people to be accountable with me or to jump in at 75 hard with me. I got like 15 people that reached out. And so there are 10 of us in a group, right? There are 10 of us in a group right now going after this thing. Get accountability, right? If I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do tomorrow, or I've got people that are saying, Robert, go, let's go. They're putting their stats in. They're saying, okay, completed day 9, completed day 10, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't drop off, right? Get accountability. Number four way to overcome procrastination: celebrate victories. Celebrate your victories, right? Addictive behavior is hard to stop, but it's much easier to replace, right? If you remember before, we talked about the reason that some of us delay what we do is because we want that euphoria of saying, yes, I did it under pressure. And the more that we do that, the easier it is to succumb to that, because we like that addictive behavior, but it increases the stress. It increases the potential for hypertension. Addictive behavior is hard to stop. It's like smoking. It's hard to stop, but it's much easier to replace. So if I continue to find victories each day that I can celebrate, I can replace the fake euphoria of delay by constantly creating victories. Right? The more that I celebrate, okay, I took this action, celebrated. I did this action, celebrated. Oh, I took step 3, celebrated. The more that I can celebrate the action taking, I get that euphoria, and I'm replacing that, or I'm replacing the fake euphoria of delay with the constant euphoria of victory. Celebrate your victories. And then number five thing you can do to overcome procrastination. Brian Tracy has this great book called Eat the Frog, right? Practice eating the frog. Practice eating the frog. What do I mean by that? Well, know what you need to do. Create your list of things that are important the night before, and then tackle the important things first. Right? In this book, Brian Tracy says, if you have to eat a live frog at all, it doesn't pay to sit and look at it for very long. Right? If I've got to eat a live frog, it doesn't pay to sit and look at it for very long. Right? Imagine that you got a challenge, or somebody said, hey, listen, if you eat this frog, if you eat this live frog, you get $1 million. Right? The longer that it takes you to eat the frog is the longer that it takes you to get to your $1 million. So if you think about your life, or the accomplishments or the growth that you're after in your life, right? If you think about these things, the longer that you delay the important things, is the longer it will take for you to get to the reward that you're after, or the result that you're after, right? If you have to eat a live frog, it doesn't pay to sit and look at it for very long, right? So tackle the important things first. Also, say no to things that are not a high value use of your time and your life. I'm guilty, right? I'm guilty of wanting to help people, wanting to be of use to people, and so people pull on your time and they ask you to do this. And there's some things that, while you can do them, they're not a high value use of your time, and they deplete your energy for making decisions and getting into action on the things that matter. Right? So do the important things first. and say no to anything that is not a high value use of your time and your life. The more that you do this, the more productive you'll be, and the more that you'll be able to produce the right type of euphoria. So, at the end of these shows, we always talk about a little bit of homework, right? So we're talking about overcoming procrastination today. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like you to write down one thing that you constantly delay or put off. I want you to write down one thing that you constantly delay or put off. Oh, I love what Danjo 17 says. Feed your focus and starve your distractions. I love it. Your distractions or your distractions, all of that. Yeah. Right. So here's your homework. Number one, I want you to write down one thing that you constantly delay or put off. If that's exercise, write that down. If that is spending time with your family, write that down. If that's a project at work, write that down. Write down one thing that you're constantly delaying or putting off. And then the second piece of your homework for today is I want you to schedule a time today. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 10 minutes. I don't care what it is. Schedule a time today to start acting on that thing. Right? Write down one thing that you delay or put off. Schedule a time today to start acting on that thing. And then the number 3 thing that I'd like for you to do is come back and tell me in the comments on YouTube that you completed it. Come back to this episode. Come back to this show, right? The Overcoming Procrastination episode, and write in the comments that you completed your action. Okay, so 3 things. Write one thing down that you constantly delay or put off. Schedule a time today to start acting on that thing, and then come back and tell me in the comments. I want to hear from you. All right. Speaking of YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so that you can get notifications for the show weekly. Guess what, my friend? You deserve to live a life that is healthy, full of celebration, and free from negative thinking. Notice I didn't say that there are never going to be stressful or challenging events in your life. But life is mostly what you think it is and what you say it is. If you say it's bad, then it's bad. If you think it's going to be terrible, then it will be. But if you look at life's challenges, grieve them when necessary, and say, hey, there's an opportunity for growth here, then I guarantee you that you will move forward and that your euphoria will be much different. That's all for this week, people. To know when we're live next, text live to 240-557-8679, and I'll send you the link. That's live, L-I-V-E, to 247-557-8679, and I'll get you that link. Remember to check out the Storytelling and Selling podcast. Text podcast to 240-557-8679, and I'll give you that info. Also, if you're a real estate agent, small business pro, and you want to learn more about how to grow your business through public speaking, then get locked in with the Story to Sales Mastermind. Head on over to storytosalesmastermind.com, and we'll share the information with you and send you more information. I want to end today with this. Brian Tracy says in Eat the Frog, one of the very worst uses of our time is to do something very well that doesn't need to be done at all. There's never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the most important thing. Hey, y'all, it's Monday, and we want to shift your mindset to a place of growth, but it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Be curious, make a choice, move, start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday at 8 a.m. on the Monday Mindset Movement, right here on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Yes. Until then, be amazing, my friends.